Just that's all.
Sure.
Are we?
Every
So
time
do you want to pick it up and then I do rules? Let's just go see. So. Oh yeah, I'm gonna yeah. You can. You can
And then the first question, first, and then the second question.
Yeah. So do an example. Say. There we go. Now that this is recording, I have all of their names in the tab.
All right, folks, if I could just ask that everyone take your seats. Welcome again to the, well, after you feel free to grab some pizza.
Yeah, go grab some pizza.
Welcome again to the first presidential debate for the 2016 presidential election of the student government of Loyola Chicago. We're going to get started in just a few moments. The candidates have been briefed on the rules tonight, but we're going to share them with you now as just a recap. So the election board of student government has prepared the questions that will be asked for this evening. Those questions have not been shared with anybody outside of the election board prior to tonight. We will run through those questions first, and then, time permitting, at the end, we will open the floor to any audience questions that you may have. We'll call on you if you raise your hand, and you'll be able to ask a question for all of the candidates to answer. So it has to be directed to all of the candidates, and we'll allow all of them to answer in turn. The order in which responses will be given tonight will be determined by names drawn out of a hat. So the candidates have written their names on a piece of paper. Carlin, the chair of the election board, is going to draw those names out of a hat in just a moment. That will determine the order in which the opening statements are given. And then for every question subsequently, the order will reverse. So the person who gave their opening statement first will deliver the answer to the first question last, if that makes sense. Candidates will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond to questions. And then if a candidate's name or campaign is directly mentioned by another candidate in their response, they will be allowed a 30-second rebuttal. With that being said, I think we're ready to get started.
Yep.
So thank you all again for being here. For folks who are watching from home, thank you. We're going to ask that you maintain decorum and respect during the course of this debate. Understand that the candidates are working very hard to be here and to share their platforms with you, so offer them that respect. Thank you. So, yes.
All right, so the first person to go will be Jimmy. Hold on, can you reshuffle them?
Yeah.
Sorry, they're like, okay, thank you. All right, the second person to go will be Jason. Third person to go will be Michael. Oh, I guess so. Mariana, you're last. Thanks, you guys.
Okay. Ready. Okay. So Jimmy, when you're ready, you have 2 minutes to start with your opening statement.
Perfect. I just want to start off. Thank you guys all for coming to this debate. SGLC for hosting it, and for my colleagues here for coming and joining for this discussion. My name is Jimmy McHugh. I'm a junior, business major, economics and international business. My running mate is Craig Paulson, a good friend of mine, running for vice president. And our whole goal here is to unify the student body. Craig and I have never been part of student government before at Loyola. So with that outside perspective, we bring something fresh. We look through things with a new lens than we've had in the past. We want to make student government more accessible, more inclusive for the average student. And with that, to accomplish that, we have a 5-point plan. 1, to effectively amplify student voice through open forums for students to attend. 2, to prioritize student safety for students all around campus. 3, to establish productive and transparent conversation and dialogue between students and administration. they're the ones who make the policy decisions in the end. 4, stay true to the Jesuit values that we have here at Loyola with diversity. And 5, it comes back to the students. That's where it all is about. We have to come together, doing events, initiatives, guest speakers, make people feel proud to be Loyolans. The Q Policy ticket offers that. We look forward to talking more about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, Jason, when you're ready, you can start. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you all so much for being here right now. During my time here at Loyola, I have been involved since the moment I stepped foot here. Through many organizations. However, at the start of this semester, I went to Org Fair and met a young Asian woman. And I asked her, what do you need here as a Asian woman? And she started crying. Why? As she told me, no one here has ever asked her that simple question in all her years here. And that is the reason why I am here today asking to be your next president. We are running on 4 pillars: care, voice, community, action. Action cannot happen unless community is formed. Community cannot happen unless each and every student here knows that their voice will be heard no matter what. And that will not happen unless each and every student knows that they feel cared for every single day here. But it can start here with Pika and Mitchell.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, Michael, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Good evening, members. My name is Michael Flowers, and I am seeking your support to be the next president of student government. I'm currently a junior, information systems and management major, running with my vice president, George Henry. Currently, the students at Loyola are very divided. We don't have trust in our administration. We have a lack of diversity and inclusion programs in many departments within Loyola. And our contracted workers are not paid enough. They are not being treated fairly, and they need our support. Our entire goal for running for president and vice president of SGLC is to unite the students, to unite organizations, and build trust between the students and the administration. Without collaboration, transparency, and the right leaders, we can't create any tangible change at our institution. That is our main goal, is to unite the students and to really bring everybody together, because we're all here for the same reason. We need to stop looking at the differences in one another and start looking at all the similarities that we have with each other, and really become a tight community to work together, because at the end of the day, we're all working for the same causes.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Mariana, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement when you're ready.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mariana, and I am currently serving as your student body president. For the past year, I've had the privilege and honor of being able to serve as your vice president and as your president. And my role has seen a lot of challenges this past year, but in the same way, our Loyola community has seen challenges, and SGLC as a whole has seen challenges. But I think with my position, I've been able to have a unique perspective and use these challenges to create opportunities for growth. And those opportunities have allowed us to seek a new understanding of who we are as SGLC and what we are to do as an organization. And hopefully create the Loyola that we all want and love and care about. And so as this year has gone along with its challenges, I really took a step back when I decided to appoint Adam Roberts as my VP, current VP. And we realized that we needed to reevaluate our role as SGLC, and more importantly, internally seek how we could help our SGLC be the best it could be. So we began to reach out to all our different branches to seek out what they wanted for SGLC to be to the greater community and to be the best it could be for our students internally. And upon recognizing that, Adam and I realized that it all starts with student empowerment. An empowered student body is an empowered community. And that is what our platform stands on. It stands on the basis of student empowerment. And it's 3 pillars, plain and simple: holistic empowerment, student advocacy, and committed to excellence.
Thank you, Mariana. Okay, thank you all for your opening statements. We're going to move on to the first question. So Mariana, you're going to answer this one first. You have 1:30. Question number 1, what makes you qualified to be the president of the student body?
So like I said, I currently hold the position of the president. I have also held the position of the vice president, and I have also been a senator on SGLC. But above all of that, I think I've also made myself, or given myself the opportunity to seek out what Loyola really has to offer. And I think one of the greatest things that I've been able to see is the passion of students on this campus throughout my involvement with the ABIs and also my involvement with the Greek community. And I really think that that gives me a unique perspective to be able to give back to the student body to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Mariana. All right, so Michael, same question. What makes you qualified to be the president of the student body?
So I have been a member of SGLC since the fall of 2013. I currently have more experience in SGLC than all of my opponents combined. Being the president of SGLC is not just discussing things. It's not just gaining feedback. It's the ability to put words into action. And SGLC at this state needs a leader that can put words into action, can meet with administrators on a regular basis, and have the experience working to get feedback from students, to get feedback from organizations, and to put that feedback into the hands of the administration. SGLC's main responsibility is to support all students, all organizations, and all initiatives on campus. And that is my main priority as president of SGLC, is to advocate for every single person on this campus and bring those concerns to the administration. Over the past 3 years, I've done that with my committee. I have been the chair of the Residence Commuters and Dining Committee for 2 years, and was on the Facilities and Transportation Committee. I have very good relationships with a lot of our administrators. I have a lot of trust in our administration, and a lot of our administrators have trusted me. And with that, I would like to bring that to the presidency of SGLC, because we need to regain that trust in our administration.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Jimmy, same question. Oh, Jason, sorry, Jason. Oh, yes, start when you're ready.
Sure. I am more than qualified. I can go on and on about how I have had this position, this, and this. However, I think what is most important here is having the experience of meeting students where they are at. Last year, as I'm sure most of you know, the African Americans here were not comfortable. So what did I do? I took every single demand of the African Americans here after holding a all-day workshop, asking them for what they think Loyola needs. And then I took that to the administration. And this is why right now, today, as we speak, unit classes are being re-looked at. Orientation as well is being re-looked at. And now my opponent says, none of us have experience. However, I am a commuter here.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. All right, same question. Start when you're ready, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think what qualifies me to be president is my student experience. I come from out of state. I went to a public high school. I come here knowing no one really. And I think that phase that I went through starting out, it wasn't my home. I couldn't relate to anything. I wasn't familiar with the Jesuit values. I considered transferring, and then second semester, freshman year, felt a little better, felt more comfortable. I still, I wasn't too involved. I didn't know how to get involved. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Sophomore year, I didn't, more my home, but I couldn't find my niche, And it wasn't until my second semester, my sophomore year, that I really feel, okay, you know what? I'm inspired. I want to really embrace Loyola. And that was because I talked to people who had that passion already. And they inspired me to want to be really involved with Loyola. And that's what is necessary as a president, someone who's supposed to represent the students, because you need to be relatable to the students. You need to be accessible to the students. And I can relate to the students because there are many students out there who are going through that phase now. And I've been through those phases. I know what they're going through, and I don't want them to wait until sophomore year to feel Loyola as their home. And you can have all the things on your resume. That's great for the job interview. But I think as a student body president, you should relate to the students. And that's what I am. That's what I bring to the table. So thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. So Jimmy, again, we're going to do question number 2. Can you explain your platform and why do you believe that it is better than those of your opponents? Start when you're ready.
Yeah, so really what my platform is designed to do is to unify the student body. When I say effectively amplify student voice, that's really to bring people together who normally wouldn't be involved in student government, or perhaps don't have the courage to go out and run, but want their voice heard. To do that, we'll have a monthly or bi-monthly meeting for students all around campus to come talk about a certain issue. We also want to send out surveys through their emails so they can have direct involvement in what topics we discuss in our executive board and also those monthly meetings. L-chats, Loyola chats. We need to have people's voice heard. Safety. I don't want people to have to go out at night and feel worried about walking home. How do we fix that? Well, we can expand the amount of blue alert emergency light stations off campus so people feel a little more secure, a little more safe. Make sure 8 rides time to pick up is not 45 minutes. People can rely on that. And finally, the students. That's what it's all about. We need to be proud to be a Rambler. We need to have events, have a wolf day where we could be on a beach and enjoy being part of Loyola. We can have guest speakers come in. We had Colin Powell come in the fall. Students were allowed to be part of that. It was a fundraiser. Students couldn't hear a leader like that speak. And I think that's wrong. We should have speakers come here and students realize, wow, that great figure wanted to come here and talk. That figure wanted to talk to us. That's inspiring. You know what? That makes you feel proud to be a Loyola Rambler. And that's what we were trying to do.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, Jason?
Care. Every student here must feel cared for, no matter who they are, no matter what they look like, no matter who they love. They must feel as if Loyola loves them. Now, 70% of the African Americans here, and how do I know this number? Because I asked the African Americans here. 70% of the African Americans here feel as if Loyola does not love them. Now that is an issue. Voice, one of the largest ones here. Student government right now does not represent students. How do I know that? I have asked students all this week, rooms of 20, 30, where only 1 or 2 people know where the SGLC office is. They don't even know who their senators are. In order for SGLC to represent anyone, you must speak to the students. Community here lacks. We must bring in all groups, no matter who you are. And then lastly, action. I have stressed this over and over again, but often here at Loyola, we speak and we sit, discuss, but there's never any action. So action must be taken.
Thank you, Jason. Michael, sir, are you ready?
Our campaign is more than just about making promises to the students of Loyola. It's about wholeheartedly committing ourselves to every organization and every student on this campus. With our experience in SGLC, we have seen what has worked, we have seen what hasn't worked, we have seen what's realistic and what is not realistic. It's more than just talking about the ideas that are important to each and every one of you. It's about bringing those ideas to the administration and having conversations about how we can move our university forward. Collaboration. It's about working with one another. It's about understanding why somebody has a different opinion than you do. I like talking with people that have different opinions than I do because I learn more about myself, I learn more about their opinions, and yet at the end of the day, everybody is more educated. And I think that needs to be relayed to more of our student bodies. Inspiration. I am inspired by our students on a daily basis. People do wonderful things here, and it inspires me to represent the LUC community. And I think SGLC could be more of an inspiring body to the rest of the students here. And transparency. Our administration is not transparent. SGLC needs to work on their transparency. We do as much as we can, but without proper feedback mechanisms, we can't implement solutions that will positively affect students. So our main goal is to be as transparent as possible in our
Thank you, Michael. Mariana, start when you're ready.
So like I said, I think Adam and I really had the opportunity to see SGLC in a very unique time. It was a time where Adam and I really wanted to recommit to who we are as an SGLC. And we saw, as we talked to our senators and we talked to the judicial branch and we talked to the executive branch, that they really wanted this sense of community. And that sense of community would then pour out to the greater Loyola community. And so then we thought, okay, well, how do we build community? Well, community is built with empowering each other. And so that is what our platform is. And holistic empowerment, student advocacy, and committed excellence. Holistic empowerment, Adam and I believe that you can't create community without knowing one another. And that's what we want to do with our holistic empowerment. Build relationships with one another. And really, really get to know the story behind the person that we're working and advocating for. And that starts here at our community or in the Rogers Park community. We want to find ways to crack this bubble to where we don't know what's outside of Loyola. Student advocacy. We want to continue committing ourselves to ensuring that our students are heard. And the one way that we want to do that is by creating and helping SGLC continue.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. So you're going to go first for the next question. The next question is, what is one of the most impactful life experiences that has shaped you as a person?
Can you repeat the question?
What is one of the most impactful life experiences that has shaped you as a person?
All right, so I think for me, I come from a very small town, and I think the idea of being able to do great things and just get out of that community is something that's very unattainable, I guess. And so when I decided to come to Loyola, I really wanted to show that any dream is big enough and it is accomplished if you really put your mind to it. And so for me, being able to come to Loyola was an opportunity to show that any dream is attainable, and that if you really work hard, you are able to accomplish and fulfill the desires of your heart.
Thank you, Mariana. Michael?
I think being a student at Loyola has been one of the most impactful life experiences that I've had. I'm from a relatively conservative town, and coming to Loyola, I've become so much more open-minded to others' ideas and values around me. I've learned more about myself. My personality has evolved, and my beliefs have evolved. And I think that it's a never-ending process of learning more about yourself, about who you are as a person, and working with the people that are around you. And with that, I think that type of that should be carried on to our student body. We should always be learning from one another. We should always be. That's why we're students here. We're all here to be students. We're all here for the same reason. And I think that just me being here, learning from everybody around me, has really made an impact on the person I was freshman year to the person I am now.
Thank you, Michael. Jason, you may begin. Yeah.
Back in high school, I worked at a law office, and there was a little girl who was being abused by her dad, grandpa, and her uncle. And just reading about everything that this 9-year-old has been through for months, a year, when I met her, she still had the nerve to have a smile on her face. Still to this exact day, I at least think about her once a week. When I get tired, she lets me know that little a smile lets me know that I need to keep pushing onward. It's not me, and this is not for a resume, but I want to help each student here at this entire university, and that little woman lets me know time and time again that no matter what, you must keep moving onward.
Thank you, Jason. Jimmy, you may begin. You're ready.
I think one of the most impactful and influential experiences of my life was I got the opportunity to study abroad last spring in the John Felice Rome Center through Loyola. I picked that one. There's so many, with my family and that, but I picked that one because that was just me going over there in a whole different culture, a whole different environment with people who I didn't know. And it was a time of self-discovery, really, a time where I found confidence. I found people who were also very passionate about Loyola. That was when I became very passionate about Loyola, talking with them, going to places on weekends such as Dublin, where you learn that people can have a very fulfilling life, even though they aren't, so career focused. They have values, they have values of family, of friends, of just plain joy, and realizing that you can have those type of values and find happiness in life. That really left an impact on me, because being in a culture where it's so work and career driven, it was nice to see that. Very refreshing and very impactful. So that was probably it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, so this next question is again for Jimmy first. How will your administration address the issue of crime in the surrounding neighborhoods?
Yeah, so I touched on this a little bit. Two main things, because we can't have students feel unsafe walking home. That's because then they can't feel like it's their community. They can't own it. What we want to do is as you see throughout campus, you may not notice them, but they are there. They're the blue light up poles, the emergency centers, the call centers. And they're all throughout campus, but we want to see those perhaps implemented outside of campus even further. Further out where juniors and seniors are living off campus. Also, what we want to do is 8 rides. Very great to have them as a service. But when people have to wait 30 to 45 minutes for a ride, they lose incentive to wait for them. They end up walking home, and that's where the accidents can happen late at night. And we want people to feel safe and know that that kind of program is reliable. They can count on that if they give them a call, that they can get a ride home safely. So those are 2 main things that we're going to prioritize and focus on. Thank you.
Jason, when you're ready.
Agree with everything he has spoken of, but also within knowing that you're safe is knowing who you can speak with. Someone that you should be able to speak with is your student government. Right now, as I keep echoing, so many students here don't know where the office is. They don't know who to speak with. So if they had an issue out in our neighborhood, they wouldn't know who to speak with. However, SGLC should be the first thing that any and every student thinks about when it comes to any issue.
Thank you, Jason. Michael, whenever you're ready.
So I think more than just increasing the amount of safety parameters that we have in place already is engaging SGLC and the LUC community in the Rogers Park and Edgewater community. Right now, there's a lack of engagement and communication with our aldermen, with our campus safety department, and with CPD. Just about a month ago, we had a state of the community, and a lot of these issues were discussed. And it's not about just making the neighborhood safer. Rogers Park and Edgewater are some of the safest communities in Chicago. It's about educating the people in this neighborhood. It's about educating the students about the community that they live in. And part of my vision, George and I's vision for SGLC, is to really engage the students in the community and work with the aldermen to create different community programs, things like that. We can promise that we'll put more blue lights and work on the 8-ride program, but some of those things are not realistic. I've talked with CPD, I've talked with campus police department. We can't put blue lights on property that's not ours. That's why we don't have them. So we can't promise you that we'll put a blue light 4 blocks away on Glenwood or a block on Albion. It's not our property, unfortunately. So we need to think and be more creative with how we engage in the community around us to increase safety.
I love you.
Okay. You have 30 seconds.
It's a good point he said there that he's had those discussions. I think, though, it should be considered that you got to be optimistic. These things can happen. You got to have strong dialogue. If you can have those strong conversations with these people, with the aldermen, with the police department, making sure campus safety and the police department are working together, I don't think you should limit yourself to what you can and cannot do. Sure, those things may be in place currently, but why do we stop there? I'm not promising that we will put these things up. I'm saying I will work hard to make sure we have these conversations.
Thank you. Jason, you have 30 seconds.
Blue lights is also something that I love, and I also want to mention that it was on my website first. And also, nothing is unrealistic when it comes to safety of each and every student here at this university. Absolutely nothing.
Thank you. We'll go back to Mariana. Do you want to answer the question?
So I think in SGLC, we always talk about how we want to better safety. I think that's something that we constantly have, and students are constantly wanting to know, how can we become more safe? How can we become more safe? And I think it goes off of Michael's point. We need to be exposed to our Rogers Park community. Adding more resources will do something, but knowing where we come from and knowing who surrounds us will allow us to build community with these people that are a part of our community as well. Adam and I would like to create some, I think we want to engage with the community by going to the different community centers and going to the different restaurants and places that Rogers Park has in order for students to know where they can go. Fear comes out of not knowing, and that's what happens here at Loyola.
Thank you, Mariana.
Can I just address it?
Mhm.
It all sounds beautiful. However, students will not speak with SGLC right now. And why is that? I want to just keep re-emphasizing. Students don't know who is in student government.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question, and then after this question, we're going to repick for a new order. So we're going to start with Mariana. How will your administration address issues of diversity and racial identity at Loyola?
I think one of the big things that Adam and I want to do, I think it starts with creating a sense of community here. And that starts from the moment you enter and look on our website. Right now, we are working with Advocate to create a way to make all of our documents to be inclusive to all genders and inclusive to every single person, so that that community starts from the moment that you press submit. Adam and I also want to continue pushing forward our initiative with the Modus Scholarship. Undocumented students are a part of our community here, and being able to create a scholarship that helps them is great, but creating a sustainable thing for it is even greater. And so Adam and I want to continue to help make that scholarship a part of our student body so that every single year students know that they're making an impact and they're helping a community that needs our help.
Thank you, Mariana. Michael?
I think making diversity and inclusion more of an issue in SGLC is adding a diversity and inclusion committee on the executive board. One person can't do it all. And like Jason said, not everybody knows what goes on in SGLC and who SGLC is. So having a diversity and inclusion committee on the executive team with people from SDMA, with people from SGLC, with people from different administrative departments, that will create those discussions that need to happen on how to further our diversity and inclusion programs across the institution. And like Mariana said as well, we need to engage more frequently in the community around us. And SGLC needs to promote themselves more and promote what they do as an organization to actually gain that feedback from students and bring that those discussions to the table to administration to actually initiate change. Because we can have discussions all day long about our diversity programs and what we should do, and how are we going to get it done. And that is part of our commitment to the university or to the students, is we will work with administration to get these things done. And bringing more concerns to administration and bringing administration to students is important as well. And having that relationship where students feel comfortable going through SGLC to work with the administration is a very important part of what SGLC does.
Thank you, Michael. Jason?
I strongly believe that we can have so many ideas, but if we're not diverse within student government, why would any other student care? If you look on the web page right now, it is not diverse. So we need to make sure that SGLC looks like our students. Also, we need to learn how to meet students where they are, not having them always come to us, but meet everyone where they are. Also, if you look on my web page, you'll see a list of endorsements. All of them, most of them are all students of color. You have to be active with them. You cannot say that you will be active once elected, but you have to be active right now.
Thank you. Jimmy?
So I cherish a diverse community. Coming here, when I first got here, diversity and background was the first thing I noticed. I came from a predominantly white, kind of similar background in high school. And immediately in my same hallway, I had someone who's from Serbia, someone from India, and someone from Japan. And their perspectives that they brought were so interesting, were so engaging. With regards to this past, one thing I will do for sure is when I am elected president, if you guys so choosing, we'll make sure that my executive committee has a diverse background. You cannot have a group of people make decisions who are not from different backgrounds. Number two, directly reach out to the Student Diversity and Multicultural Center office. Get the names and contact information of the heads of each group, so I can go out directly and talk to them and hear their side of the story, what they want to be done, what they want accomplished, so we can bring their ideas to the table. Now, last semester there was a demonstration reaching out in response to Mizzou. It was LUC to Mizzou. Very good demonstration. Very good. There were some very good ideas there too. There were ideas about bringing more African-American faculty, more African-American based courses. That's very important. And those ideas need to be heard, and having a strong dialogue between students and administrators, bring those ideas up to the administrators to make sure that they make and implement policy to address those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, so time for rebuttal. I just fill out. Yep, you could start.
Okay, I just want to mention again that you can say that you will do all this, but I already have. The admissions right now is working on recruiting more African Americans from Chicago because of me. I learned that the admissions here recruits from 0 high schools in the South Side. That needs to start happening.
Thank you, Jason.
So we're gonna redraw the names. Again, do you want to pick this time?
Sure.
All right, who's gonna go first?
Will be Jimmy. And then Michael. And then Mariana. And Jason.
All right, so the first question for you, Jimmy, again, you have 1:30, is how could Loyola be a better university?
Good question, it really is. How can we be a better university? Well, we can definitely make a more unified student body. I mean, that's really key for a university. There's a lot of great, it's a two-way street, there really is. One, for the university to offer great programs, great organizations, a great environment for students to thrive in, which they're doing right now, and they can always add to that. They can always add more challenging and exciting experiences and activities for the students. And the other side of it is students need to know that their environment that they're in, the community that the school sets up, is for them. They need to feel comfortable to reach out to those organizations and to actually get out of their dorms, to get out of their apartments and get involved. So it goes both ways, and I want that relationship between the two to come together.
Thank you. Michael?
So I think it starts with within the culture of the students. If we are a divided culture, we're not going to be happy. We need to, like Jimmy said, be united with one another. Organizations need to be united. Students need to be united. Like I said before, we're all here for the same reason. We're all here to be students. We're all here to learn and progress our future careers. We all have very similar interests, but unfortunately, a lot of the similarities are clouded by all the differences that we have. Differences aren't bad. Differences are good. You learn from your differences among other people. I have learned so much about myself in the differences between me and the people around me. And creating a culture where we can have different opinions and be able to learn about one another and be able to educate ourselves on why you believe something or why another person believes something is extremely important in the culture here at Loyola. In addition to a lot of the other things that are going on, obviously tuition is a large portion of making Loyola better. However, we can't promise to lower tuition. We just physically can't. However, we can work with administration to implement more scholarships and reach out to alumni and do more outreach programs with our community to increase scholarships to offset the increasing student tuition. And that alone will make Loyola better.
Thank you. Mariana?
I think the thing that Loyola can be the best at and better at is giving students the channels to enact their voice more accessible. I think our shared governance model right now is like not known by our entire student body, and I think that is something that is very, very, very wrong. Students need to know that their voice can be heard through certain avenues, and I think that will empower students to want to fight for what they believe in. That will empower students to want to look and to find ways where they can have these positions and sit at the table and have these conversations that they desire to have, so that we can continue to further this idea of men and women for and with others. That idea must be what drives every single thing that every student on our campus thinks of, because that makes us really, really think twice about the movements and the desires that we want to enact here on our campus.
Thank you. Jason?
Yes. I do not know everything that is wrong with this university. I also do not know all the ideas. So what does that mean? SGLC, along with the rest of this school, must start asking students what they think they need here. And we talk about these avenues, but SGLC is an avenue that currently is not hearing the voices of students. So we must start here with SGLC.
Thank you. So Jason, Mariana?
You have 30 seconds.
You have 30 seconds.
I think SGLC does need to improve the way that it reaches out to students, but I also would like to say that SGLC does its part to make sure that the students that do reach out are being heard and are being listened, and we're actively seeking ways to make sure that the students that do come knocking to our door, we are there to serve them.
In the interest of time.
In the interest of time, the board felt that the response didn't address any campaigns directly, so we're going to move on to the next response. Thank you. So Jason, yeah.
So Jason, the next question. How will your administration bridge the gap between the SGLC and the broader student body?
Once again, I'm going to emphasize SGLC needs to start listening to the students. We have heard recently that it is active, but it could be more active. After a year in office, you've had opportunities to listen. So we need to elect someone who will start listening as soon as they are elected.
Fabiana?
So I think the main thing for us to become more, or SGLC to become more accessible to students, I think it starts with SGLC. I think we need to really understand what our role is, and how we are here to serve the students. And that starts with engagement and relationship building leadership. And actively seeking out to organizations. That's something that Adam and I did the moment that we assumed our positions, to be president and vice president. We sought to see how we could bridge the gaps with the different organizations. And we found that one of the things that many students told us was that SGLC was separated from everyone else. And what Adam and I would like to do is to create this idea that leadership is not positional, it's a lived experience, and that you have to be able to be approachable and be able to like know the student body in order for you to be able to best help and impact this community.
Thank you. Michael?
SGLC can't always expect the students to reach out to SGLC. SGLC needs to understand that they need to reach out to the students to get input. They need a table. They need to be present on campus at university events, athletic events, and different organizations events in order to gain a holistic vision of what students are thinking. I think right now, I can say, being a member of SGLC for 3 years, certain groups of SGLC do that, certain groups don't. But that has to do with the leadership at the top. If the leaders are not empowering those within the organizations to reach out, to be present, and to equally represent the 10,000 undergraduate students at Loyola, we can't expect to get an idea of what students are thinking. And that is how, there's a lot of different feedback mechanisms that aren't being utilized that need to start being utilized. And George and I will focus on that when we, if we are elected.
Jimmy?
We're talking with students, there is held by some a perception that SGLC is an inside group. It doesn't fully reflect the student body. We need to change that, and we need to bring someone new to lead SGLC, someone who's not been in that inside group, someone who's on the outside, someone who has fresh perspectives and a new lens. And we can't just listen to those who knock on the door. We listen to all. It's more than just those who are coming out to you. You go out to them. That's key. The communication is everything. We are students. We can't think that just because we're in a position, we're above people, or we have the right to our voice is bigger than theirs. We're students. We all are right here. The role of the president is to reflect student body, because at the end of the day, we're students, and that is fundamental in this role. So thank you.
All right, Jimmy, we're going to start again with you for the next question. How well do you think Loyola handles issues of mental health on campus, such as stress, anxiety, depression, and what would your administration do to address these issues?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I've never gone to the Wellness Center personally because of mental health issues. Because of that, I don't have a personal insight on this issue. But one person can't have all the perspectives of what's going on with the student body. So that would be my responsibility to go out personally to those, because I have friends who have gone to the Wellness Center and had to rely on the Wellness Center services to help them with their mental health issues or other issues. It's a matter of bringing people in to hear their perspectives on it, because, like I said earlier, it's a two-way street. The Wellness Center should provide services for those people, to take care of those people who are stressed out, who have anxiety, who have depression, immediately, because those things are serious issues and should be dealt with accordingly. But then on the other side of it, students should feel comfortable to go to the Wellness Center. In those circumstances with mental health issues, they have to feel comfortable that they have people to listen to them. So through communication with the Wellness Center, making sure that they're marketing that, hey, we have services that can help you, that's key, and talking to students who have benefited from the services and who've had bad experience with them, and realize and understand what was the good of it, and what was the bad of it, and how can we improve. Thank you.
Michael.
More than just realizing that these concerns need to be discussed, we need to think about how we can implement new processes in which we can address these issues. George and I would like to see SGLC and the Safety and Wellness Committee reach out to Loyola University Medical Center, which is only 30 miles away from campus. They have a whole team of staff and doctors that are committed to these types of issues. And bringing them in to collaborate with the Wellness Center is key to addressing a lot of these issues. We could sit here and talk about a lot of these issues, every day. We do a lot of feedback within SGLC. We understand that these are issues and they are very important to George and I. And to address these issues, we need to start utilizing the resources that are here and promoting the resources that are currently here to the students, because it is obvious that those resources are not properly communicated. And with that, we need to start thinking about what are some new ways we can communicate these resources to students, because we can't expect students to go onto luc.edu and search through the thousands of web pages that site has and find something like that. We need this information easily accessible to every single student, staff, and faculty member on campus.
Mariana?
I think Adam and I would like to continue to work with the wellness advocates and all their work to bring awareness on this campus, but also to actively seek out more resources. I think one thing that our university needs to better help our students is to have more resources for them and make sure that they know that they're there. And whether it's through more education about grants or education about the resources we have on campus, Adam and I want to reach out to the wellness advocates and understand what they have been able to do and what they've heard from students, so that we can continue to work with them so that students are feeling empowered so that they can continue to make impacts on our campus.
Jason.
Students must know that having an illness is not something that's rare. So many students here struggle with something. And an issue that I find is if you have a mental health issue, you can only go to therapy here 6 times. That's it. So it's as if we're saying, oh yeah, we know that you have this issue, but after 6 times, you're kind of on your own. That needs to be changed. Another thing is clear communication. I myself had an issue a month ago. I went and no one was there to see me after I made an appointment a week ago. No one contacted me and said it was canceled. So things like that are very important.
Thank you. So Jason, we're going to start with you again.
Sure.
The next question is, how will your administration approach the issue of the high cost of education?
Tuition right now is unjust, especially as Loyola says that they want more minorities here, yet they keep raising tuition. Next year, we will be paying almost $60,000 to go here. It's incredible. However, I'm not saying that we need to lower it. I'm saying that we need scholarships immediately. And also, we need to start having the conversations as soon as possible with this issue.
Mariana?
So I think one of the things that I would like to say is these conversations are always ongoing. On the level of our Board of Trustees, I know that our Board of Trustees are concerned that our tuition is as high as it is. And they're constantly challenging all the people on this campus to find ways how we can allocate our funds or find ways to be able to make this university more accessible to its students. But I also think that we have to make sure that students are making the best out of their money. And Adam and I want to reevaluate our meal plan and want to figure out how students can really make the best out of that. After 4 years of trying out this new meal plan, most students don't even use all of their meals. So I think that is a tangible goal that Adam and I present to be able to make the best use of the tuition that we already do pay and continue and further the talks that our Board of Trustees and University Senate are having in regard to this issue.
Michael?
Our current tuition is obviously unjust. It's too high for a lot of students to afford. And like Jason said, how can we expect to reach out to communities in Chicago, minorities, and expect them to pay the tuition that Loyola is currently at? Going back to my previous point earlier about what I said about tuition, we can't reduce tuition. It's not realistic. If we want all the programs, if we want the best professors, if we want the best university in Chicago, we can't lower the tuition. However, there are a lot of things that we can do to increase scholarships, and that starts with our endowment. Increasing our endowment, increasing our investments that the university makes, and those types of mechanisms are ways that we can increase scholarships at Loyola. Another thing is that we need to make sure Magis is a long-term program, and expanding Magis is very important as well. I also think publishing a funding report for the university would build trust for students. I think a lot of students wonder on a daily basis where their funds are going, and we have no documents to look at to say, where is my tuition going? Is it going here? Is it going there? Where is it going? So I think the university publishing an expense report to students saying, this is where your tuition is going, this is how it's being utilized, will make students feel more comfortable about paying what they are paying.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I think it really comes down when it comes to tuition, it comes down to transparency. Yes, they need to publish where the funds are going. They need to show what they're prioritizing on campus, throughout campuses, programs, new buildings. But also, on top of publishing it, they should market it. They should really push out to the students to know, okay, this is the priority. Send out emails so we know, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing with that 4% increase that we just received a month ago. And on top of that, besides letting us know what they're spending the money on, we need to have stronger dialogue between administration and students of when we are increasing tuition and why we're increasing tuition. Bring students to those tables more often so we are more in the loop, and then we can communicate to the rest of the student body as the head of SGLC to let them know, okay, this is what's going on, this is why they're doing it, we discussed it, okay, you may not like it, but this is why they are doing it, just so you were informed about it. Thank you.
We're going to go into our last two questions, starting again with Jimmy, and then we're going to take audience questions. So, a commonly expressed concern amongst the undergraduate student body is that student input is not taken into consideration in major university decisions that significantly impact the students. How will your administration promote shared governance?
Okay, so it kind of comes in two parts. So a key part here initially is building a strong relationship between students and administrators. Not always, the dialogue is key. It really is between those two, because the trust then allows for the table to be available for both of us. That's fundamental. It really is. Not taking an antagonistic approach as a student government, but rather take a productive approach. transparent approach. On top of that, it shouldn't just be between SGLC and the administrators, but also the whole student body. It is then from the responsibility of student government officials to go out to the students through sending emails to their Loyola accounts, with surveys, hearing what topics they want discussed, what they want done, and what they want to hear, and what they want accomplished on campus. That's fundamental, reaching out to students and building the relationship between administrators and students. Thank you.
Michael?
Working with administrators is very important, and having a mutual respect between administration and students is also very important. It's hard to go into a meeting and demand something from administrators if you are not willing to have an open mind, and they're not willing to have an open mind. Unfortunately, right now, we have a divided community where administrators don't have open minds and students' minds aren't as open as they should be. The president and vice president should have a very, very close relationship with the president, all the vice presidents, and the provosts of Loyola. Those relationships start with trust and respect. And I have worked with a lot of our administrators in the past. I work with a lot of our vice presidents, and so does Mariana. And we have a great amount of trust and respect for all of our administration. And we need to be transparent with them for them to be transparent with us. Promoting collaboration and transparency is a #1 priority for George and I. Collaborating with the administration, letting them know what SGLC is doing, letting them know what students are saying is very, very important for them to collaborate and be transparent with us. The main purpose of SGLC is to be the liaisons between these students and the administration, and to bring those two entities together.
Mariana?
Can you repeat the question?
A commonly expressed concern amongst the undergraduate student body is that the student input is not taken into consideration in major university decisions that significantly impact the students. How will your administration promote shared governance?
So I think I've had the unique experience to be able to see how the administration does care. And they actively seek out students to see and gain their perspective. I do meet with the president and I do meet with the provost, and they really are interested to see what we're doing, what we're up to, and how they can help. They always are asking of where they can help and where students need help. But I think this past semester, Adam and I were able to see how our shared governance works firsthand, and SGLC was able to see it firsthand. One of the big issues this year was the demonstration policy, and that was everyone was affected by that decision. But administration really wanted to hear what SGLC was doing or what students wanted, and SGLC did reach out to students to see what they were up to, what they needed, what they wanted, and it was through that input that we were able to formulate legislation that was then created shared up through the shared governance structure in order to create and help create this new policy that we have. So I think continued engagement with our students and feedback and building that community in order to better serve our students.
And Jason?
We need to start here with our own student government. We need open office hours for everyone within this whole organization. If you have an issue, come up and speak with us whenever you have an issue, because we're here for you. Also, admin want to hear students. About a year ago, I was just another student. Now I'm here meeting with admin every week. I have their numbers. They want to hear from students. It is something that they want to do. And however, I want to mention that I was the student who presented the demonstration policy to the admin the first time I was in the paper on media, and I was never reached out to this year.
And so Jason,
Sure.
our last question before we go into audience questions. And again, we're going to switch the order for audience questions. If elected, what would you intend that your legacy be upon leaving office?
I would want my legacy to be someone who listened, someone who was out of the office and listened, someone who went up to every student, no matter who you are, who you love, what you look like, and listen. I want to be someone where I walk up and I am respected, but yet it's like, oh, look, you know, Jason is also here. But mostly, I want to be known as this is the year where we finally started listening to all students here.
Mariana?
I think for me, this year I've been able to really see how titles seem to always be the reasoning, or titles have become a competition for a lot of people, and I really believe that Adam and I want to change that. We believe that leadership is not positional, so leaving a legacy is not the reason why we want to do things. We want to do things so that we are really using the talents and abilities of our students to the best of their ability, so that as students we can continue to empower each other, so that we can continue to create that impact that we know that we can.
Michael?
My legacy is not about me. It's about the way I leave Loyola when I graduate. I would like to see Loyola be a unified community, have trust in each other, have trust in the administration, and be able to collaborate with one another. It's not about me, it's not about my position, it's about all of you, and it's about what I can do and what George can do for everybody around us. It's about how we can make your Loyola the best Loyola you want it to be. It's about reaching out to you, it's about reaching out to organizations, and it's about partnering with administration and students and really creating change that is sustained when we leave this university.
Jimmy?
You know, people aren't going to remember my name or Craig's name a few years down the road. I can guarantee you that. I couldn't name you the president from 4 years ago or 3 years ago. What I do want, though, for students or alumni to remember is the year of 2016, 2017. Remember that time as, okay, that was the spark. That was the start of a time where Loyola really built its community, built its environment, and people look back and see the reputation of Loyola as strong because those who left Loyola, not just me, we're talking about the whole class, the whole 4 years, people who leave Loyola, those graduated, left an impact on the community around them. Rogers Park, Chicago, the country, that they left their impact, and Loyola really found its place, its name, and its reputation. And that's, you know, that goes bigger than just the presidency or SGLC. That's, but that starts with a culture and an attitude set forth, and I think that's fundamental. Thank you.
Right.
So we're only actually going to take 2 audience questions with the restriction of time we have for the reservation of this room. Can I take this one? Yes. Okay. First person going first, Michael Flowers. Second, is Jimmy. Third is Jason. So Mariana, you are last. So does any of the audience have a question?
Hi, Kristen. Yeah, I'm Kristen. So I'm just wondering, I've heard a lot about people holding senators accountable and making sure that they're getting projects done and currently being, constantly being involved in listening to students. So I'm just wondering how exactly each of you are going to hold the senators accountable.
Michael?
Well, as far as SGLC goes, there's already mechanisms in place to hold senators and everybody involved in SGLC accountable for certain actions. However, I think the job of the president and the vice president of the SGLC is to encourage and empower everybody around them. Because if the president and vice president are not setting the example that they are getting things done and they are encouraging the senators and the executive team around them to get things done, nobody's going to have any ambition to do anything. And I think, SGLC can really be an effective and productive organization. However, if it doesn't have the leaders in place to really create that culture of ambition, of collaboration and inspiration, it's hard to hold people accountable for actions when the people that are leading them are not holding themselves accountable for their own actions.
Jimmy?
Yeah, Chris, thank you for that question. It's an important one because that's what needs to happen is the senators are held accountable. And I think, I think give credit where credit is due. Jason said it. We don't even know who our senators are. It comes down to transparency. It comes down to making sure that students are informed. If it takes through email or through a website, no, email, direct, contact them. Let them know that, okay, this is what the Senate did. This is what they proceeded over. This is what their goals are. This is what they're trying to do to move forward. It's reaching out to the students to make sure they know what their senators are doing and actually who their senators are.
Jason?
I agree with everything. Everything. System is there, yes, but no one's holding anyone accountable, and that's due to leadership. If you're not doing your job, you need to leave. Why is that? And why am I harsh on this? Because when you take that oath of office, you are promising over 10,000 students that you will hear them, you will be there, and that each of their issues will be addressed. So, Kristen, if you're not doing your job, leave and let someone else come who is dedicated and has time.
Mariana?
No, I think it's a way deeper issue than that. Being a senator myself, I think sometimes the work that we handle is a workload. And sometimes it does get overwhelming and sometimes you lose motivation. And I think this past year, that is what I've devoted myself to giving back to my organization and making sure that every single senator is supported. Every single senator is cheered for and given the resources that they need in order to accomplish what they want. And I think, like Michael said, we have the mechanisms to hold our senators accountable. And I think that our judicial branch and our attorney general do a great job of that. But I think we also, need to recognize that we're students, and sometimes we don't do what we said that we had to do because we also have tons of other things that we have to worry about. And it's not so much about not doing the thing because you don't want to. It's because sometimes you just have a bad day, and we have to be able to work past that. And I think Adam and I have been able to support all of SGLC through this time.
I just want to mention, yes, I'm sure it is hard, a lot of time, but just imagine how much more time it will be when they actually start listening.
Okay.
There's so many. Along the side.
There's been a lot of talk about creating community in this debate. And I want to know, what is something concrete that you can tell us all right now that you implement as SGLC president that will actually create a community between Loyola students on and off campus?
Mariana, I'm going to start with you.
I think Adam and I have really dug deep into that question. And I really think it starts with empowering our students and offering the resources that they need in order to be and accomplish what they aspire to accomplish. And I think community comes from understanding who the person behind the issue that you're trying to tackle. And understanding that we're here to be people for others, and men and with and for others. And making sure that students know that. And I think Adam and I have really helped our SGLC and empowered SGLC to know that we are here for our students and we work for our students. And I think it's evident in the stuff that we've been able to accomplish this year.
Jason?
I think it all starts with listening, because as president, I don't know what anyone needs if I don't reach out to them. First, students need to feel cared for. And when that happens, students will speak up. And when that happens, community is just automatically fostered. And when that happens, action happens.
Thank you for your question. First thing concrete I know I'll do when I get into office is create student forums, establish L chats, Loyola chats, where anyone can come in and discuss in a town hall style meeting, an open discussion, not me on a podium, me sitting down with everyone else and hearing what they want to discuss, what issues are bothering them. Number two, make sure we have surveys. Send out surveys to students so they can directly have input on what things they want to discuss behind, in our executive board discussions, but also in the L chats. On top of that, we want to send out press releases so people know, all students, what we are doing, what we're doing behind these doors. Because we don't want the doors closed. We want them open. We want everyone to understand that we're reflecting what the student body wants. We're representing you. And then, so those are the concrete things. I can't make promises on other things, but initiatives that we want to be done is have fun initiatives that bring students together, like dollar hot dog nights at basketball games, or a wolf day that we have something where the whole country knows that we bring someone in, a chance to rapper down the beach and have a good time. Be proud to be a Rambler. Those things that bring spirit together. That's key. So thank you.
Michael.
I think community begins with collaboration and partnership. If the leaders of SGLC do not know which organizations to reach out to in certain instances, you can't accomplish anything. I've been the chair of the Residence Community Dining Committee for the past 2 years, and anytime I have a particular issue that comes up, I immediately focus on a certain organization or certain group of students that I can collaborate with to come to a decision on working with administration. And creating those relationships with students and organizations will, in essence, create community between the organization and everybody else around us. We have forums. We have SGLC has town hall forums. We can have as many discussions as we want to encourage people to come in, but we can't always wait for everybody to come knocking on our door. We need to, as an organization, branch out to the organizations that are already in place that are focusing on minute issues on campus, because they are the ones that are experiencing those issues and experiencing those fields, and they can bring insight and collaborate with us to work on issues and initiatives with the administrators.
Thank you. So we're going to begin closing statements. Starting with Michael, you have 2 minutes, or 1 minute and 30 seconds. Just kidding, you have 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. It's an absolute honor to be in this position right now, running for the president and George running for vice president of SGLC. I have dedicated myself to this organization for the past 3 years, and I have loved it. It's not about me, it's about the students and how I can help everybody around me. Our campaign is not about us, it's about committing ourselves to this university and to every organization, every student, and every initiative on this campus. It's not our job to pick and choose who we support. It is our job to support every single person on this campus and represent every single person equally. It is our job to work with the administration, unite the students, unite the administration, and build, like we just talked about, community between the students and the administration. I believe I've done a successful job of doing that for the past 3 years in this organization. And like I said, it's not about me, it's about what I can do for the students that are around me. This is your Loyola, and it's about what you want your Loyola to be in the future.
Jimmy?
So you've heard a lot of this kind of same themes, bringing the community and dialogue. It's interesting. We just came back from spring break, and that was a chance for me to go back to St. Louis, where I'm from, and I have friends and family who didn't quite get the opportunity to move on to that next step and go to a university or college, especially one like this with the price tag as we discussed earlier. And that really put things into perspective. Every time I go home to see people who don't have the chance or the opportunity to be in an environment like this, especially this one, an environment that provides opportunity. The opportunity, it provides a chance for someone to find themselves, to hear other perspectives, other backgrounds, to witness things that they would have never seen or dreamed of if they would have stayed in the same town. And I realize that every time I go home, it reminds me every time. And I want students, the moment they step in, freshmen, transfer students, I want them to see right away that this is something, it's a privilege to be here, and it's a welcoming place, it's a community, it's a place we can come together, and that's what it's all about. That's what the McHugh Paulson ticket is there for, is to unify the student body and make them feel like this is a home the moment they step on campus.
Jason?
Thank you all. And I would like to emphasize that we all have ideas. However, our ideas are not those of the students. So we need to start listening and taking action. Care when students feel, when they know and feel cared for, they will start speaking up. And when that happens, community will perform. And when that happens, action happens. Student government right now does not represent students. However, that can happen, and it will start here with Pika and Mitchell.
Mariana?
Thank you all for coming out. I think it's very exciting to see how many people have become very active with this campaign and see how many different faces have begun to interact with SGLC, because I think Michael can speak to this. This is like a lot of people coming to our events for the first time. And that's something that I really am appreciative of. And I also want to thank you all for the opportunity to have allowed me to serve this past year. I think a lot of challenges were faced during my time as president and VP, but I really can firmly and strongly say that we have grown. And you can ask any person that is within our organization, we have grown for the better. we have grown to make sure that our internal body feels empowered to be able to reach out, to be able to start having those conversations. And Adam and I want to continue to give that empowerment so that our students know that we're here. We also want to continue to foment this idea of leadership not being for a title, but leadership because you care. And that is what drives things to change. And so lastly, I would like you all, I think we've all talked about student voice, but I really think that I would like to challenge you all to really vote, because we can't be, you can't, oh my God, I lost my train of thought, sorry. We need to make sure that you are being heard, and that goes through your vote. So I would like to encourage you all to vote for the candidate that you believe best embodies what you want for this university, what you see will bring the change that you want on our campus.
All right, thank you to the candidates. Thank you for all of you who are here, and for those of you watching from home. We want to remind you all that there's another presidential debate in this same location at 6 o'clock p.m. on Monday, March 21st. Voting will begin by Loyola University student email at midnight on Tuesday, March 22nd, and will continue until the end of the day at midnight on March 23rd. That's Wednesday. Thank you all again, and don't forget to vote.
Did I press now? Do I stop pressing?